Shalom, shalom, all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yeshai. And thank you to the apostles, elders, and brethren who helped teach me this truth and are helping me grow in this truth. And shout out to you sisters who are being modest in apparel and caring, for it really does help a whole lot. And just thank you for just continuing in holiness and sobriety. Now, I didn't think I was going to have to do this, but I will go over who are the true identity of the Hebrew Israelites. And this video is going to be titled, Who Are the True Hebrew Israelites? And I'm going to address that title in this video or / lesson today. Now, first, we're going to start off in Deuteronomy chapter 28. For where it was spoken in the word of the Lord, in Deuteronomy, where it says in verse 15, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now we're going to read through these curses. Cursed shall thee be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of the body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in. Cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, with the sword, and with the blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Now let's go into NIV real quick. This is, okay. So people can see, because not a lot of people reading KJV. So going on from here down, we'll probably read some of NIV, and then we'll probably transfer back to KJV. The sky over your head will be bronze, the ground beneath you iron. The Lord will turn the rain of your country into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed. Verse 25, the Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will come at them from one direction, but flee from them in 7. You will become a thing of horror to all the kingdoms on earth. Your carcasses will be food for all the birds and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt, and with tumors, festering sores, and the itch, from which you cannot be cured. The Lord will afflict with madness, blindness, confusion of mind. At midday you will grope about like a blind person in the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day you will be oppressed and robbed, with no one to rescue you. You will be pledged to a woman, but another will take her and rape her. Now let's go to, that's verse 30, right? Thou shalt be thought the wife, and another man shall lie with her. Right, also known as taking or rape. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and thou shalt not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thine sons and daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look, and fail longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed all way. so thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou set over thee, unto a nation which neither nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And we keep going all the way to verse 48, but starting again at verse 37, or starting first off at verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And let's keep on going. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And we could keep on going and keep on going. Verse 56. The tender, delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. Let's keep on going. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. And then we're going to get a real hitter right here. Alright. Verse 64 down to 68. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. 67. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, also known as evening, and at evening thou shalt say, would God if it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. There thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, as you can see, the curses in verse 40, we're going to point out what happens. So we've seen in the curses that bad things were going to happen to the specific people that did not obey the Lord. All right. Now let's point out specific curses. So in verse 48, we have the yoke of iron upon thy neck. All right. In verse, and we also have that these people will not enjoy their children because they will be sold into slavery. In verse 56, we have that the woman among this nation who did not obey the Lord, her eye will be evil toward her man, toward her son, and toward her daughter. All right, let's keep on going. So a yoke of iron. We have the children being sold in slavery, not being able to enjoy them. And so far we have the woman, the mother, her eye being evil toward her husband and her children. And 64, we have this Pacific nation of people being scattered out throughout the earth, being scattered among all people. And we have in 66 where it says that where one would wish it was night, or one would wish it was morning, and one would wish it was evening, right? Or sometimes even night. And then we could keep on going, and let's go to, not 67 I meant. 67, and yeah, that's what I meant. And 68 says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now, what does it mean by bringing thee into Egypt again with ships? For the Egypt that is talking here is not talking about the Egypt in Egypt over there in the east. The Egypt this is talking about, because Egypt means house of bondage. So the Egypt this is talking about is the nation that disobeyed the Lord will go into the house of bondage with ships. By the way, whereof I spoke unto thee. Now, which nation of people were brought into the house of bondage with ships, in slavery, not being able to enjoy their children, with the yokes of iron upon their neck, with the mother's eye being evil toward her husband and the children? Okay? And which nation of people are also known as the tail? Okay? And which nation of people are also known as a reproach throughout all the nations and cursed? And which nation of people were put in intense slavery, not being enjoyed their children? Easy. Simply right here. These people, your so-called African Americans, Hispanics, and Latinos. Now right here it says you're African Americans, okay? But I'll probably do a lesson on 12 tribe chart later on. But look, Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 48. Deuteronomy 28 curses. The yoke of iron upon their neck, okay? Your so-called African Americans, which are the true Hebrew Israelites that the word of the Lord, that the Bible speaks of. See? Yokes of iron upon their neck. Okay? And who would sell us to these evil people? I'll tell you. Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yeah, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Now, Zidon is your Hamites. Zidon is your Hamites, okay? Now, African Americans and Africans get put in the same group, but African Americans and Africans are different. Your African Americans are usually your so-called Israelites, and your Africans are usually your so-called Hamites. Now, back to what I was saying in verse 4. Yeah, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Verse 7, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Verse 8, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Now, we know that now I'm going to go back to this right here. We're going to go right here. Okay? And matter of fact, let's go to Luke Let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye and now this verse 20, let's start. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. So this is talking about 70 AD. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Right. And if you go so on and so forth, that talks about 70 AD. Let's go on to here. See Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Now what happened is that the Roman persecution was heavy upon the Hebrews, also known as what people call Jews. And so during that period from Pompey Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves when it comes to the slave ships. So many of the people that fled into, many people that are being persecuted were the Hebrews. And what happened was that the Hebrews fled right into Africa, right? As you see the slave ships. But the Hebrews fled into Africa. Right. And let me show you another example here. It's very unclear. Let me show you a difference. Even the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary tells you the difference. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, probably born about 96 before the flood, and of the 8 persons through the flood, he became the progenitor of dark races, not the Negroes. Now, the term Negro simply means black. But however, of Ham is the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Okay? That is who Ham is. Ham is the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and the Canaanites, for the most part. Okay? So your African Americans and your Africans are not the same for the most part. Okay? As it says right here with the top guy saying, "We not African, we Israelites, you big dummy." Okay? Look, descendants of Ham. Now appearances have changed because of the many mixing of nations throughout, therefore, and so on. But I'm just saying that there is a difference between the African Americans and the Hamites. African Americans are for the most part the Hebrews, and Hamites are for the most part the Africans that are in Africa. And what happened is that the Hebrews fled into Africa for a long time, right? But what ended up happening was that, let me bring it out. What ended up happening was that during our stay of the Africans ended up selling us to the Edomites. For it says right here, "And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink." Verse 4 is a key point. "And what have ye to do with me, Tyre and Zidon?" Now, Zidon is the Hamites. And verse 5, go down to verse 6. "And the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border." Now, when it talks about Grecians here, it talks about how the Hamites sold the Israelites, us, the children of Judah and of Jerusalem, to the white people, to the Europeans. All right? However, the Hamites are going to pay for that according to verse 8, where it says that "I will sell your sons and daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it." All right. Now we're going to get some more scriptures. We're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Jeremiah 17, verse 4. "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." Right, so these people who disobeyed the Lord, also known as African Americans and, the Israelites, what would end up happening is that we would forget our heritage. We would forget that we were Hebrews, It will be so bad to the point that we as Hebrews will forget our heritage and call another people Hebrews. Okay? Let's go right back into Luke 21. Verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away into captive into all nations. Now, who was sold captive into all nations? There you go. The Judah, the tribe of Judah was sold forth into all nations. All right, those so-called on who you call Africans, who are not really Africans but are the Hebrews. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down into Gentiles. Now, now in the Middle East today? Where is in the Middle East today of Jerusalem, modern Jerusalem, over in the Middle East? Who is in the Middle East today? The fake Jews. All right, the Gentiles over there are being the Jerusalem over there is being trodden down by the Gentiles. But this is only going to happen until the times of Gentiles be fulfilled. Now, these people are also known as the fake Jews, also known as the synagogue of Satan. I know thy works, and that now Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now let's go to who the fake Jews are. Let's see. Surely it is. See, we will flee into Africa. We fled into Africa, as you can see. Boom, so on and so forth. But these are your fake Jews. These are the ones, according to Luke chapter 21, verse 24. These are the Gentiles that are trotting down Jerusalem until the times are fulfilled. Okay? Now, let's go back and go to another scripture. Now, why were we sold into slavery? Yes, we were sold into slavery because we didn't keep the commandments. But I'm going to read a verse from the Apocrypha. So you could look at the screen, but however, what I'm about to quote is from the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras chapter 8, verse 30. Take thou no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that put always their trust in thy righteousness and glory. Because the thing is, as Israelites, what made us worse than the other nations, and what made us live worse, and what made us being called like beasts, as it says that we were deemed worse than beasts, was because we knew the law, statute, commandments. We knew better, but we chose not to. We decided to commit fornication with the idols of the other gods, which we should not have done. Now, let's go on to another scripture. Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. Now, however, this is not going to be on the screen either. This is from the Apocrypha, so just here. Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. And what's happening now is that many African Americans, many Israelites, and many Israelites around the world, in Mexico, so on and so forth, around the world, are waking up to their heritage. For in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves. And America is the land of their captivity of us true Hebrews, of the African Americans. We are awakening to the fact that we are the true Israelites. All right? And in the land of our captivity, we truly are remembering ourselves. Now, I'm going to go to another scripture where this one is indeed. Now, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35. And it says, verse 15. Now, during slavery, the Edomites were rejoicing over us being in a bad condition. For Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 15 says, As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate. So will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it. And they shall know that I am the Lord. Now, Mount Seir, when it says, O Mount Seir, that just means where the place where I believe the Caucasus Mountains are. That's where your so-called white people are. That's where your Edomites are. Now, Idumea also means your so-called white people, your Edomites. And for the white people, the Edomites who have pummeled us, destroyed us, raped us, killed us, and stilled us, the Lord Yahweh will do back unto the same of the so-called white people what they have done to us, Israelites, of the seed of Jacob by blood. Now, that is going to be all. I hope this was very edifying, I just had to get this, I just had to put this out because I didn't know that people were still didn't know this for a lot of part. So I'm going to do my part and explain. So I hope this is very edifying, and I hope this got the view across.